Tonight, you don't have to hold anything together. You've done enough. You've spoken, moved, thought, and carried yourself through the long, unfolding hours of the day. Now it's time to loosen your grip. Let the world knit itself back into stillness without your hands. Let the molecules take over. Let the quiet, invisible forces that truly hold things in place come forward, not loudly, not with fire or sound, but with bonds. Soft, small, essential bonds. Everything you know, your breath, your bones, the warmth in your chest, the coolness of the pillow against your skin, begets because atoms have made quiet agreements to stay close. Agreements that don't scream or strain, but gently tug at each other, pulling just enough to become something more. Covalent bonds, ionic bonds, hydrogen bonds, none of them trying too hard, just doing what they've done since the beginning of time connecting. And tonight, while your eyes grow heavy and your limbs soften, will drift into their world. A slow journey through the subtle physics of touch and tension, through the chemistry of connection, through the architecture of everything. So let go, let your own atoms rest. The universe is already holding you together. All you have to do now is sleep asterisk before everything you know, before trees and teeth and clouds, before the blue in the sky or the breath in your chest. There was hydrogen. Just hydrogen, simple, silent, solitary. One proton, one electron, floating through the young universe like a single note in a vast and silent song. It was the first atom, the most basic building block, and it was alone but not forever. The early universe was hot, too hot for structure. For a long while, particles flung themselves through space in frantic motion, colliding, ricocheting, separating again. But as everything cooled, those little particles slowed down. The chaos softened. And then very gently things began to stick. The first time two hydrogen atoms came close enough and calm enough to share, something quiet but monumental happened. They didn't collide or merge or fuse. They made a bond, a chemical bond, a mutual agreement between two atoms to hold on, not by force, but by sharing a tiny part of themselves, their electrons. This was the covalent bond, a kind of cosmic handshake, an invisible thread that tethered them together with just enough strength to resist separation, but enough looseness to still dance. That pair of hydrogens became the first molecule, H, and just like that, chemistry was born. It may not seem like much to atoms, side by side, but this small gesture had enormous consequences. Suddenly, the universe wasn't just a sea of particles anymore. It had begun to organize. Two became one, and that one had new properties. It could vibrate, rotate, absorb light. It could bump into other atoms and form something bigger. More importantly, it could last. This first molecular bond marked the start of everything that could stay together long enough to matter. Without it, there could be no stars, no water, no life. Without that one little act of atomic generosity, nothing in the universe could hold hands long enough to become anything else. And so began the quiet revolution of bonding in your body right now. Countless hydrogen atoms are still doing this dance, joining oxygen to make the water in your blood, partnering with carbon to build your DNA, threading themselves through the very fabric of your cells. Every bond is a descendant of that first gentle clasp, and these bonds are not violent, they are not harsh, they're soft agreements, a shared electron cloud, a space where two atoms overlap just enough to stay close, to build something neither could be alone. Even now, as you lie still beneath your blanket, Your body is full of this quiet connection. Molecules holding together with soft precision. Structures made not by force, but by sharing. You are made of agreements of atoms who decided, long ago, to stay. The night is silent, but your body is not. Every second, bonds form and break, reform and realign, not dramatically, not explosively, just gently, like hydrogen did. When the universe was young and empty and ready to begin, think of this as you breathe. The air entering your lungs contains hydrogen that may have once been part of a star or a comet or a raindrop. And inside you, these atoms continue the ancient practice. They find others, they share electrons, they hold hands, and in that holding you are sustained. Let that be your comfort tonight. Let your thoughts drift to that first moment, that first molecular hug between atoms, so small, so basic, and yet so essential. Without it, there is no warmth, no skin, no sleep. The simplicity is the magic to atoms, one bond, a universe of possibilities. You don't have to understand the math. Just feel the rhythm, the quiet insistence. That connection is possible even in the cold, even in the dark, especially in the dark. You are made of that connection. And tonight, as you close your eyes and your thoughts slow down, remember this: the universe doesn't need big explosions to begin something new. Sometimes it just needs to tiny things, willing to hold on. So let go of the day, let go of the noise, and feel your body, molecule by molecule, relax into that ancient, beautiful agreement to be here, to stay, to hold on just long enough to sleep. You are made of whispers, not the kind spoken aloud, but the kind passed gently from atom to atom, electrons, delicately shared, never quite owned, never quite surrendered. These are covalent bonds, and they're everywhere inside you. They aren't loud or showy. They don't snap like magnets or collapse like stars. Instead, they hum quietly, steadily, holding your skin to your bones, your thoughts to your neurons, your breath to your blood. It's easy to forget them, these tiny agreements that keep you whole. Covalent bonds aren't about opposites attracting. They're about equals choosing to share. Imagine two atoms, side by side, each carrying electrons that circle them like tiny moons. Alone, they are stable, but not complete. Together, they reach toward each other, and their electrons begin to overlap. Not to steal, not to merge, but to share. A mutual custody, a gentle co-parenting of tiny particles. This sharing creates something new, a molecule, a shape, a structure, the fabric of you. Your DNA is made of covalent bonds. So are the amino acids that form your proteins. So is the glucose that fuels your dreams. You are a library of these quiet agreements, each one allowing an atom to stay where it is just a little longer, to be part of something just a little bigger. And they are strong but not rigid. Covalent bonds bend and flex. They vibrate, they stretch and recoil, never breaking unless pushed beyond their limits. That flexibility is their genius. It lets your cells adapt, your skin stretch, your voice rise and fall. It gives your body grace. There's a beautiful humility to covalent bonding. No atom tries to dominate the other. No side controls the whole. Each simply contributes a little an electron here, an orbit there, and the result is balance, stability, something neither could achieve alone. Isn't that what love is in its purest form? Not surrender, not conquest, just sharing, just staying, just choosing, again and again, to be part of something more than yourself, as you lie here tonight, letting the bed cradle your weight and the darkness settle over your senses. Your body is performing a miracle of chemistry. Billions of covalent bonds, holding every molecule together, are quietly at work. They ask for nothing. They do not demand applause. They do not shift or panic or tremble when you sleep. They simply continue. They remind you that you are never alone, not even at the smallest level. Because in every strand of hair, every blink of your eye, every cell in your fingertip, a conversation is happening. A whisper, a yes, a stay, a shared electron drifting in space between partners who agreed, long ago, to remain close. And this closeness is what gives rise to everything else. No covalent bond is loud, but without them, everything would fall apart. You would fall apart. So tonight, as your thoughts drift and your breathing slows, imagine the quiet network inside you, the lattice of trust, the soft-spoken bonds, the invisible hands holding you in one piece. Let that be your lullaby, the molecules that make you are not alone. They have chosen to stay together. They have agreed to whisper, not shout, and in that whispering, they hold you whole. Sleep comes easier when you know you are intact. Sleep comes easier when you remember. You are made of quiet promises. Sleep comes easier when you let go and know you will not fall, because something deep inside you is always holding on. Tonight, you are floating in a tide much older than you. Even as you lie still, a sea hums through your body, your blood, your breath, the fluids that cushion every cell and nerve. And within that inner ocean, a quiet chemistry unfolds, a dance of opposites, coming together not in conflict, but in balance. This is the world of ionic bonds, the invisible architecture of attraction that gives your body its rhythm and the earth its flavor. Ionic bonds are different from the software of covalent ones. They are bold, they are decisive. One atom gives, the other receives. It begins with a charge in imbalance. One atom, like sodium, is eager to let go of an electron. Another, like chlorine, is hungry to receive it. And in that single exchange, a powerful connection is born. Positive meets negative, and together they become something stable. Salt is the story of this bond. Common table salt sodium chloride is a crystal built from trillions of tiny attractions. Each sodium ion, now positive, nestles next to a chloride ion, now negative. They don't touch, not quite. They don't fuse. They hover close, locked in an electrostatic embrace, their charges pulling them together across invisible space. That's what holds a grain of salt together. That's what makes the oceans briny, and your tears sting, and your muscles fire in perfect time. The currents in your nerves, the signals in your brain, the beat of your heart, all guided by the push and pull of ions, drifting and balancing, charging and discharging in precise waves. And these bonds aren't personal, they're universal. They happen anywhere opposites meet, wherever something is ready to let go and something else is ready to take. There's no shame in being the giver, no superiority in being the taker. Both parts are necessary. Both parts are transformed. Your body knows this. In every cell, sodium and potassium ions trade places, creating tiny shifts in voltage that allow you to think, move, feel. In every drop of sweat, electrolytes charge, particles maintain balance, cooling you, nourishing you. And in every tear you've ever shed, ionic bonds have traveled across your skin, breaking apart in water, dissolving into something both lost and shared, That's the beauty of ionic bonds. They hold tight, but they're not possessive. They're soluble. They dissolve in water, not because they're weak, but because they're responsive, flexible, willing to spread their influence far and wide. The ocean is full of such bonds, broken but not gone, flowing through currents that wrap the planet, and your bloodstream mirrors that sea. You are part of this exchange. You are shaped by this attraction. You are moved by it, kept alive by it, balanced by it. Let yourself rest in that idea tonight. Let the metaphor of ions drift through you like warm water. Maybe you've felt pulled towards something before, someone, someplace, a moment of clarity that had charge. Maybe you've let go of something that needed to find a new home. These are the human echoes of ionic bonds. You don't have to hold everything inside you. You don't have to share everything evenly. Sometimes it's enough to give. Sometimes it's enough to take. And in doing so, you create something stable. So close your eyes, feel the gentle tides inside you. Feel the charged particles keeping time, guiding your breath, your pulse, your calm. Know that even now, the salt in your body remembers the sea. Know that your chemistry is not only stable, it is graceful. You are being held, not just by blankets or memory, but by electric attractions too small to see and too faithful to stop. Let that knowledge settle. Let your opposites rest and sleep in peace, cradled by the salt that once held oceans and now holds you. Asterisk, tonight, you are wrapped in water, not just in the air you breathe or the warmth of your skin, but in every molecule that makes you, your blood, your tears, your cells, each one swimming in a silent sea. And in this sea, a particular kind of bond writes its presence over and over again, the hydrogen bond. It is gentle, fleeting, and everywhere. Not a shout, not a grip, but a whisper. A soft letter passed between molecules, saying, I'm here. I see you. Let's stay near. Water is simple too, hydrogen atoms and one oxygen, but simplicity in nature is never boring. The shape of the water molecule is bent like a smile. That shape matters. Oxygen pulls electrons close, making its end slightly negative, while the hydrogen tips stay slightly positive. And with that imbalance comes opportunity, because opposites, even in softness, still attract. Hydrogen bonds aren't full bonds, like ionic or covalent ones. They're more like nods across a crowded room, more like reaching fingers, not clasped hands. But even a glance can hold meaning. Even a near touch can hold form. When one water molecule comes close to another, its hydrogen is gently drawn to the oxygen of its neighbor. Not enough to merge, just enough to lean in, just enough to say, you matter. And this leaning, this not quite bond is what gives water its mystery. It's why water clings to itself, forming droplets. It's why it rises up narrow tubes, defying gravity, climbing the roots of trees to reach their highest leaves. It's why ice floats, why oceans flow, why clouds drift. Hydrogen bonds are the subtle threads that hold nature's stories together. Your body knows these bonds well. Your DNA, with its rungs of paired bases, holds itself together through hydrogen bonds. Your proteins fold because of them. Your memories store, your neurons fire, your cells communicate, all because of this quiet chemistry. Hydrogen bonds don't last forever, they break and reform constantly, but that's their strength. They allow flexibility, resilience, movement. They hold just long enough to keep things whole, and then release with grace. That's what makes them like love, not the overwhelming kind that burns, but the steady kind that stays. The kind that lets go when it needs to, then finds its way back. The kind that adapts, that flows, that trusts. Hydrogen bonds are not possessive. They are present. Let that be your comfort tonight. The water in you is listening. Every cell is saturated with these soft connections. The spaces between molecules are not empty, they are full of intention, full of presence, full of the desire to remain close, if only for a moment at a time. Even your dreams flow through water. Even your calm depends on it. As you breathe, water vapor moves through your lungs, carrying the humidity of your world into your body. With each exhale, you return a little of it, offering your own molecules back into the air, into the sky, into the cycle that never ends. You are not separate from the sea. You are not alone in the night. Hydrogen bonds link molecule to molecule, thought to thought, breath to breath. They make the quiet clinging of life possible, and they do it gently. So let your thoughts soften now. Let them form connections, not by force, but by nearness. Let your dreams lean into each other, like water molecules in a stream. Know that you are held not tightly, but tenderly. You don't need to grip anything tonight. The bonds that made you are still here, still writing their love. Letters in the language of water, still reaching, still listening, still letting you rest. Asterisk. Inside every cell of your body, hidden away beneath layers of membrane and fluid, there is a story written in molecules. Not typed, not inked, not spoken aloud, but folded, twisted, stored with care. It is a double helix, a spiral staircase of coded instruction, and its steps are made of chemical bonds that do not break easily. This is your DNA, not just yours, but life's, passed down through the quiet march of time. And at the heart of this biological manuscript are more of those soft, persistent hydrogen bonds, linking one base to another in a perfect, predictable dance. Each strand of DNA is made of 4 types of bases: adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. They pair in precise combinations, A with T, C with G. Each connection formed not by force, but by shape, by compatibility, by the gentle electrical attraction of hydrogen bonds. These bonds are not strong like the covalent ones that make up the DNA backbone, but they are just strong enough to hold the code together, just stable enough to preserve the instructions that make your skin grow. Your heartbeat, your thoughts, assemble themselves into dreams. Imagine them now, as you lie still in the dark. Tiny ladders of molecules winding through the trillions of cells in your body. Each rung a bond, each bond a promise. The bases don't just stick together randomly. They reach for the partner they were meant to hold every single time. It's not romance in a human sense, but it is devotion. A rule that never tires. A fidelity written into the structure of life itself. These bonds can be broken, yes, and they are, during replication or repair, but always with care, always under watch. They break only to be rejoined, copied, shared. Even change mutations, treated gently. Your DNA is not just a static text. It is a living rhythm. It coils and uncoils, opens and closes, interacts with proteins and enzymes that read and write and edit. And all of this, every bit of it, depends on the quiet trust between hydrogen bonds, small attractions repeated millions of times, forming a tapestry of meaning. Tonight, your body is copying cells. Even as you drift towards sleep, deep within you, DNA is unzipping and replicating. Those bonds between bases are parting, temporarily, to make room for growth, repair, continuation. There's something so tender about this process, life making room for more life, with all the patience of a lullaby. The same chemical code that once assembled in your mother's body, and before her, and before that, back through generations beyond memory, is still here, still intact, still dancing its spiral dance in your blood. And it isn't just yours. Every living thing carries DNA, trees, bacteria, foxes, jellyfish, wheat. The common thread in all of them is this double helix, this staircase of code held together by hydrogen bonds and time. So when you sleep, you don't sleep alone. You lie within a web of life that shares your pattern, your structure, your music. There is peace in that thought, a stillness. You are not a single note in the dark. You are a chord, a harmony in a much older song. Let yourself breathe into that. Let your thoughts stretch out into the coiled loops of DNA inside you. Let them drift down the spiral, hand over hand, rung by rung, until they find the base pairs holding fast, whispering their loyalty in the softest voice chemistry knows. You are held together, not just by muscles or memory, but by these promises, made at the molecular level. Your identity, your function, your presence, it all rests on hydrogen bonds that do not judge, that do not waver, that simply know what they're meant to do and do it over and over again. Rest now. You don't need to remember everything. You don't need to hold everything in your head. Your body is remembering for you. Your cells are repeating the script. Your DNA is keeping its quiet vow. And as you let go of the day and drift toward the space where thought gives way to sleep, know that you are made of bonds that have lasted for billions of years, bonds that have crossed oceans of time, bonds that have never let go. They are still here. They are still dancing, and you, soft and whole and tired, are still part of the story. Sleep all day long. Your body has been folding. Not your limbs, though those have moved and rested. Not your clothes, though perhaps you laid them down. No, this folding is microscopic, smaller than smallland, yet it forms the architecture of you. It happens inside your cells, in quiet, efficient chambers where long chains of amino acids twist, loop, and tuck themselves into precisely the right shape. This is the world of proteins, the intricate origami of biology, where the folding of molecules, guided by the gentlest force, gives you strength, sensation, structure, and calm. Proteins begin as strings, long linear chains stitched together from 20 different amino acids. They're assembled like words from an alphabet, letter after letter, each one chosen by the instructions carried in your DNA. But the string alone isn't enough. It needs to fold, to curl, to twist, to collapse into a three-dimensional shape. That unlocks its purpose. Some proteins become enzymes that speed up the chemistry of life. Others become the scaffolding that holds your cells together. Some send signals, others carry messages. All of them must fold to do their work. And this folding doesn't happen with violence. It's not a mechanical crumpling or a forced shape. Instead, the chain responds to whispers, subtle interactions between side groups, tiny hydrogen bonds, forming between nearby pieces, delicate attractions like van der Waals forces, nudging one part toward another. Even the watery environment inside your cell plays a role, gently guiding hydrophobic regions to tuck inward, while the water-loving parts reach out. The entire process is like watching a ribbon settle into a knot that no hand has tied. These are weak forces, technically, but they are elegant. They work not because of how much power they exert, but because of how well they understand their place. A protein's final shape, the one that gives it function, emerges not from force, but from grace. That grace is everywhere in you. Even now, as you rest, your cells are creating new proteins. The food you ate, the breaths you took, the signals from your brain, all of them require fresh proteins to keep things flowing, to repair, to grow. And these proteins, one after another, fold themselves with astonishing reliability. Over and over, they choose the same shape, as if remembering their role by instinct. If even one of them folds incorrectly, the system notices. It refolds, or recycles, or tries again. There is forgiveness here, to think about that. A structure forming not through pressure, but through potential, through readiness, through waiting for the right gentle attractions to guide its shape. Your muscles, your hair, your blood, each is built from folded proteins, and none of them would work if those molecules didn't find their form. Yet they do, quietly, faithfully, every hour, every minute. It is a kind of invisible choreography, rehearsed across billions of years, performed in silence, perfectly on cue. There is something deeply soothing in that idea. The world doesn't always demand brute strength to be built. Sometimes it just needs the right pull, the right nudge, the right atmosphere, and things come together on their own. So, as you lie still tonight, let your body continue this soft work. Let it fold new proteins where they're needed. Let it use its weak forces wisely. You don't have to force anything. Your cells know what to do. The same weak interactions that shaped the first proteins on this planet are still guiding yours, right now, under your skin, in your bones, inside your breath. Let yourself be part of that rhythm. Let the folds form, let the weak forces win, and know that elegance is not always loud. Sometimes it's as quiet as a molecule curling into place, softly becoming what it was always meant to be. Sleep now, and let everything fold into stillness. Close your eyes and imagine warmth, not the soft comfort of your bed or the quiet pulse of your body at rest, but a deeper heat. A fire, the kind that glows inside stars and crackles on the surface of a log, the kind that doesn't destroy, but transforms. Fire is not chaos. It is chemistry in its most intense conversation. It is bonds breaking and reforming, atoms rearranging themselves under the hush of light and heat. And in this chapter, we drift through fire not to burn, but to understand the quiet rebirth that happens when molecules let go and find new partners. Fire is nothing more than rapid oxidation. But what a beautiful phrase that is, rapid oxidation. In truth, it's a dance of oxygen and fuel, colliding in a cascade of reactions. Bonds in the fuel, whether it's wood or sugar or starlight, broken not with violence, but with purpose. When those bonds shatter, they release energy, energy that was once held tightly in chemical form. That energy becomes heat, that heat becomes light, and that light is what you see flickering in a flame or shining in the stars, inside your own cells. Something similar is happening all the time, just at a slower, gentler pace. This is cellular respiration, the fire within. You take in oxygen, you take in glucose, and through careful stepwise reactions, your cells extract the energy they need. Bonds are broken, energy is released, and in that release, life is sustained. You don't blaze like a bonfire, but you burn steadily, like an ember, quietly, continuously. Now zoom outward, far beyond your room, beyond your body, to the cosmos. Stars are born from clouds of hydrogen, and inside their immense pressure and heat, hydrogen atoms are forced together not to share electrons, as in covalent bonds, but to fuse. This fusion creates helium, and with it, a surge of energy and explosion of light and heat that takes millions of years to reach Earth. That light, that warmth on your skin when you walk in sunlight, began as a bond rearranging itself in the heart of a star. Even when fire consumes, it creates. The smoke that curls upward from burning wood carries carbon dioxide, water vapor, and countless compounds that rise into the sky and return to the earth in rain, in soil, in cycles. The ashes left behind are not ruins, they're remnants of structure, evidence that something rearranged itself, found a new shape. And so it is with you. Sometimes bonds inside your body are broken to make new ones. Cells die, new ones grow, emotions rise, peak, and soften. All of it is chemistry, all of it is change, but none of it is wasted. In every transformation, energy moves somewhere new. Nothing is lost, nothing truly disappears. Think of the firewood that burned to warm your room, or the star whose light reaches you from a million years away. Think of how your breath contains molecules once part of ancient forests, ancient fires, even ancient stars. The atoms inside you have burned before. They have changed form again and again and again, and each time they've found new ways to bond. There is no final shape. There is only the next one. Let that be your comfort tonight. You are not fixed in place. You are not meant to hold the same form forever. Bonds are meant to be broken sometimes, not to leave you shattered, but to open space for something new. Fire isn't the end, it's the beginning of a different chemistry. So let go of the day now. Let it burn off softly, like smoke lifting from cooling embers. Let your breath carry away the carbon of worry. Let your muscles, still warm from life, settle into stillness. And know that inside you, even as you sleep, molecules are rearranging. Energy is flowing. Bonds are releasing, reforming, balancing the heat and hush of being alive. There is no fear in fire when you see what it makes. There is no end to chemistry, only the slow folding of change into something you can carry. You are fire, you are stars, and now you are at rest. Let it all drift, let it all burn quietly down. Sleep in the quiet space between waking and dreaming, where thoughts loosen and float like mist. Imagine a bubble, not the kind that bursts quickly and disappears, but one suspended in slow motion round, shimmering, delicate, yet somehow complete. A soap bubble. Inside it is not magic, but science. Inside it is a dance of molecules pulling on one another, just enough to hold a perfect, temporary shape. This is surface tension, the invisible skin of water stretched tight with the promise of geometry, of balance, of fleeting beauty that stays just long enough. Water does not want to be alone. Its molecules tug gently at each other with hydrogen bonds, pulling inward, always inward. This inward pull is what gives water its surface tension. The reason droplets bead up on your skin instead of flattening. The reason insects can skate across a pond without sinking. The reason a bubble, even made of something so ephemeral, can form and glide through the air. And when a bit of soap joins the mix, something even more curious happens. Soap is a peacemaker. It has two sides, one that loves water, and one that wants to flee from it. When mixed with water, soap molecules align themselves like tiny diplomats, heads in, tails out, surrounding water with a gentle boundary. That layer allows the water to stretch, to hold its surface without collapsing. It makes the bubble possible. A sphere, nature's most efficient shape, born of uniform tension, of equal pressure from all sides. No corners, no edges, just a single continuous surface holding itself together in defiance of gravity. Think about that now, as your body sinks into the bed. A bubble is held up by nothing but balance. No rigid walls, no scaffolding, just the pull of molecules, quietly insisting that they stay close. Just enough strength to form, not enough to trap. Just enough order to last, not enough to stay forever. Your body, too, is shaped by surface tension. In every cell membrane, lipid layers form flexible walls that curve and bend without breaking. Inside your lungs, the fluid that coats your alveoli relies on just the right tension to let air in and out. Even the tears in your eyes bead at the corners before they fall, held for a moment by this invisible skin. Surface tension is not loud, but it is everywhere. It is the unsung architect of bubbles, of droplets, of delicate forms that persist despite their fragility. And it is a lesson, too, about how softness can hold structure, about how things do not have to be hard to endure. As you lie still, your own fluids are obeying this principle. Your cells are swimming in balance, their surfaces intact. Your blood clings to itself as it flows. Even your breath passes through tissues shaped and maintained by gentle forces you'll never feel directly. It's a kind of trust, one molecule in another, one side of the bubble in the other, a cohesion that keeps things whole. And there's something beautifully transient about it. A bubble is not meant to last. It drifts, gleams, then bursts. But in that brief life, it holds a kind of perfection, a reflection of light, a boundary that lets it be. Your thoughts tonight may feel like bubbles, floating up and away, catching the shimmer of memory or hope or question. Let each thought come gently to the surface, stretch its film, then disappear without worry. There is no need to hold on. The surface will hold what it must. You are, in some way, a bubble too, a fragile enclosure of skin and air and water, held together, not by force, but by invisible agreements, by molecules choosing to stay close enough to make a form. So close your eyes. Let the geometry of tension carry you. Let your muscles soften, like water finding its shape. Let your dreams lift, like bubbles drifting up, catching stars on their surface. You are held. You are balanced. You are not falling. You are floating, and in that floating, you will sleep. There is something ancient moving through your veins, tonight, something forged in the heart of stars, long before your body ever learned to breathe. It hums quietly beneath your skin, pulsing with each beat of your heart, carried along by rivers. Of red, it is iron, not as metal bars or nails or rusting gates, but as atoms folded into hemoglobin, the pigment that gives your blood its color and your body its quiet endurance. And in that iron lies a subtle magnetism, a hidden strength that whispers through your every breath. Iron is not born on Earth. It is born in supernova, in the final collapse of massive stars. When a star runs out of fuel, gravity pulls inward, and in that final breath of fusion, iron is made atoms, so stable they marked the end of creation in stellar cores. Those atoms were cast into the void, scattered like seeds across the galaxy, eventually gathering into planets, into oceans, into bodies, into you. Your blood holds iron like memory. Each red blood cell contains hemoglobin, a complex molecule built around 4 iron atoms. Those ion centers are what allow your blood to carry oxygen. They bind to it not permanently, but with the right touch of gentleness. At the lungs, iron grabs oxygen molecules, holds them for the ride, and at the tissues, lets them go. No force, just rhythm, just timing, just a silent agreement. Now is the time to hold. Now is the time to release. This bond isn't strong like steel. It's delicate, reversible. It's chemistry tuned to biology's needs. And this balance, this soft magnetism, what allows your muscles to work, your brain to think, your heart to continue its quiet labor through the night. Every breath you take tonight is part of a conversation between oxygen and iron. Every exhale a release. Every inhale a quiet catch. And iron, being what it is, responds to the earth itself. You don't feel it, but your body is always slightly aligned to the planet's magnetic field. The iron in your blood isn't magnetic in the way compass needles are, but it remembers magnetism. It was shaped by it. It lives in a world shaped by invisible fields. Birds use magnetism to migrate. Bacteria align themselves along magnetic lines. And you, though you may not navigate by North Curry, the memory of that pool deep inside you, there is something comforting in that, a thread of alignment that ties your body to the planet, your atoms to the stars. You are not drifting. You are cradled by invisible forces, subtle fields, a kind of magnetic sleep that holds you close to the earth, even when your mind is far away. As you breathe now, know this: your blood is moving slowly, not rushing, not racing, just cycling, in a calm, rhythmic flow. Red cells pass through capillaries, iron atoms catching and releasing oxygen like gentle hands, offering and receiving a gift. Your tissues are quiet. Your body is oxygenated, not by accident, but by design, by bonds formed and unformed in perfect time. This is not a storm. It's not a blaze. It's a magnet's pulse-soft, reliable, steady, and it never stops. Not even in sleep. Especially in sleep. Rest is not a pause in biology. It's a rhythm. And your iron plays its part like a deep note in a quiet song. So let go now. Let your muscles go slack. Let your breath deepen. Imagine the iron in your blood, not as weight, but as ballast, something that keeps you grounded, held, connected. You are not adrift. You are not lost. You are in orbit with something older than thought, even in stillness. The iron keeps moving. Even in dreams, it carries breath. And even when you feel light, your body knows its own gravity. So sleep, let magnetism hold you. Let your blood carry the rhythm. Let the stars that forged your atoms whisper again through your veins. They remember you, and now you can rest in the vast silence before memory. Before language or breath, there was carbon, not in the shape of diamonds or soot, not yet, but in simple chain-soft links of atoms, holding hands in ancient oceans, practicing the shapes that would one day become life. You are made of carbon. So is every tree, every leaf, every soft animal that ever curled beneath the moon. But long before any of this, carbon was dreaming. Dreaming in molecules, dreaming in patterns, dreaming in patience. Tonight, you return to that quiet beginning, where the invention of life was not loud or sudden, but slow, purposeful, a whisper repeated until it learned to sing. Carbon is the most sociable of atoms. It can bond with 4 other atoms at once, which makes it the perfect builder, open, versatile, endlessly curious. Unlike hydrogen, which bonds quickly and simply, or oxygen, which prefers pairing, Carbon can form chains, rings, branches. It can double bond, triple bond, loop around and form entire structures that fold and shift and change with just a bit of energy and time. This flexibility is what makes it the backbone of organic chemistry, the alphabet of all living things. When the Earth was young, carbon floated in the atmosphere, dissolved in the seas, rained down from space. Lightning struck oceans rich with minerals, and carbon began to link, not with meaning, not with intention, but with possibility. A single carbon atom joined another, then another, until simple molecules became more complex. Some were stable, some fell apart, but some held together long enough to react again, to fold, to change, to persist. Over time, they began to resemble the building blocks we know now: amino acids, nucleotides, lipids, each one a fragment of something larger. Your body is still made from these fragments. Chains of carbon wrapped in hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. Long threads of fatty acids build your cells. Rings of sugar form your energy. Helical spirals of nucleotides, each with a carbon heart, encode your every trait. You are, in a very real way, a sculpture of carbon alive, because it learned how to connect, how to copy, how to change without breaking. Carbon never works alone. It invites others in. It creates patterns. It makes room. This is how life began, not with a single bolt of brilliance, but with slow experimentation. Combinations, reactions, corrections. Not all structures worked. Many didn't. But the ones that stayed, the ones that lasted, were passed forward. Carbon remembered their shapes, and over eons, those shapes became cells. And those cells became organisms, and those organisms became us. So much of you is built on this quiet persistence. Every cell in your body is a living history of molecular decisions. Every heartbeat, every breath, every thought is supported by carbon frameworks designed over billions of years of trial and error. And all of it began with chains. Simple chains in water. Flexible, fragile, determined. Let that be your thought tonight. You do not need to do everything perfectly. You do not need to move quickly. Life is not rushed. Life is not flawless. Life is experimental, iterative, forgiving. The same carbon atoms that shaped your lungs once floated in volcanic clouds. The same atoms in your fingers once drifted through ancient plants. Carbon does not hurry. It simply tries again. Even now, your body is building, repairing tissues, assembling proteins, burning fuel, all of it with carbon as the quiet architect, the backbone, the scaffold, the keeper of form and function. So breathe softly. Let your own carbon chains stretch and rest. Feel the slow architecture inside you, the loops, the bonds, the shapes that hold your warmth. You are not brittle. You are bendable like carbon. You are made to adapt, to reform, to find new ways of being whole. The invention of life was not a spark. It was a breath, a beginning, a soft unfolding, and it continues in you. Tonight, carbon is still connecting, still dreaming, still holding the shape of sleep. Beneath the hum of your breath and the slow rhythms of sleep, there is a kind of precision unfolding, a quiet exactness, not loud, not mechanical, but organic, fluid, and sure. It's happening inside every one of your cells. Millions of tiny reactions, each one critical, each one perfectly timed. And at the center of this molecular ballet are enzymes, the gentle hands of chemistry. They do not force, they guide, they hold. They coax reactions into motion with the patience of something that has waited for billions of years to know exactly what to do. Enzymes are proteins, but not just any proteins. They are sculpted with intent. Their shapes are not random or ornamental, but functional, crafted to recognize just the right molecule at just the right time and make something happen. Imagine a key turning a lock, not with effort, but with understanding. This is how enzymes move through your body's chemistry. They find their matching partner, called a substrate, and they bind to it gently, changing its shape just enough to let a reaction take place. A transformation, quick and precise, that otherwise might take years on its own, or never happen at all. And they do this again and again. One enzyme might help split sugars to release energy. Another might help build DNA. Others break down toxins, assemble fats, or pass signals from cell to cell. They are not consumed by their work, they simply move on, unchanged, ready for the next task. They are both catalyst and caretaker. Tonight, as your body drifts into stillness, these enzymes are still at work. The food you ate is still being broken down into its smallest parts. Your muscles are rebuilding. Your brain is resetting chemical levels, clearing the clutter of the day. All of this happens because of enzymes working behind the scenes. They don't race, they don't sleep. They wait for the right moment. And when it comes, they act with quiet perfection. Their beauty lies not in brute force, but in form. Their active sites, small pockets within their structure, are shaped so specifically that only the correct molecules can fit. It's called the lock and key model, but it's more tender than that. A better metaphor might be a hand holding another, not squeezing, not grabbing, just enough pressure to be present, just enough space to allow motion. There are enzymes that helped build your body before you were born, guiding cells to divide, tissues to grow. Others maintain your heartbeat, keep your digestion steady, protect you from illness. Even your thoughts depend on them. Enzymes regulate neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers that carry ideas from neuron to neuron. Without enzymes, your mind would be silent, your body would be still. They are the quiet continuity beneath all motion, and they are old. Enzymes have existed since the earliest forms of life began to long before bones or brains, before eyes or skin. Enzymes were folding and unfolding, guiding primitive reactions, shaping the chemistry of early oceans. They have evolved, adapted, perfected their craft, but at their core they remain the same. Patient, precise, essential. Tonight, there is nothing you need to control, no effort to be made. Your enzymes are already working. They know what to do. They have done it 1 billion times before. Every molecule they touch responds to their presence. With calm, they are the caretakers of your inner world, the ones who make healing possible while you sleep. So let go of the day. Let the chemistry carry you. Let the quiet hands of enzymes rearrange what must be rearranged. Feel your body settle into its soft rhythms, confident that each reaction will unfold in its own time. You are not a machine. You are a system of grace. You are a cascade of patience and timing, carried forward by molecules that were born to guide, not to rush. And now they guide you to rest. Let them work, let them keep watch, let them bring you into sleep. Asterisk, you lie still tonight, wrapped in the softness of quiet air and quiet thought. But beneath your calm skin and slowing breath, there is a map. It is not drawn in ink or etched in stone. It is carved into the very shape of you. Your bones, those patient pillars beneath your muscles, are not just structure, they are story. They are memory. They are evolution written in calcium and curve, in socket and spine, in every joint that moves when you shift in your sleep. And like the long history they hold, they rest now, waiting, holding still. As the planet turns, evolution is not a flash or a jump. It is a slow drift, a long, unhurried rearrangement of what works, what survives, what fits. And over millions of years, these changes leave traces, some subtle, some unmistakably, till one day a body walks the earth that is not quite like the one before it. Your body is one of those. You carry within you not just your own past, but the deep history of all creatures who came before. And your bones carry it most clearly. Your hands, for instance, 5 fingers, bones that curl and stretch and grip. You share that pattern with bats, whales, and cats. Their wings, their flippers, their paws, all variations on the same theme. The same basic structure, changed by need, reshaped by time. A record of adaptation written in metacarpals and phalanges. Your spine, curved and stacked, tells of a journey from sea to land, from horizontal to vertical. The pelvis you carry, strong and broad, was widened to bear weight upright, to allow walking and eventually birth. Even the smallest bones, those 3 tiny ones in your middle ear, were once jawbones in ancient fish, repurposed by time to carry sound instead of bite. Evolution works not by designing from scratch, but by editing, nudging, repurposing. A fin becomes a limb, a scale becomes a feather, a jaw becomes a whisper. It is slow, imperfect, and yet unstoppable. It happens when a change, however small, makes survival just a little easier. When that change gets passed on, repeated, refined, not by force, by time. Tonight, your bones do not feel that ancient motion, but they hold it. The way your femur curves, the angle of your shoulder, the flatness of your nails, all are echoes, not of one ancestor, but of many. A chorus of bodies, each slightly different, each giving rise to the next. And this drift still continues, not in a way you can feel, not in a way that disturbs your sleep, but in the tiniest of variations, the smallest shifts in DNA, in the quiet experiment of life repeating itself, generation after generation. Your body is not a final version, it is a draft, a beautiful one, a necessary one, but still a work in progress, a bridge between what came before and what might come next. Let that thought cradle you tonight. You are not broken for changing. You are not flawed for being unfinished. You are part of the long breath of life, adjusting, adapting, trying, failing, and trying again. The strength in your bones was shaped by needs you never knew. The space in your hips, the curve in your neck, the arch in your foot, none of it random. All of it inherited, not just through genes, but through time. And now, as you rest, your body does not worry about the next change. It simply lives. It repairs. It maintains. The skeleton you carry, quietly supporting your organs and breath, is not burdened by the past. It simply holds it, gently, proudly, without complaint. So breathe now. Feel the weight of yourself. Know that it is not heavy. It is rooted. It is your past, yes, but also your survival, your structure, your belonging. You are not just alive, you are alive in a lineage older than memory. You are sleeping in the arms of time, and it will carry you always, forward always, gently, always home. The world inside you is mostly water. You are soft, fluid, shaped and supported by it. And though it seems so simple, clear, tasteless, silent water is not empty. It remembers, not as memory in the way you do, not with thoughts or stories, but with structure, with shape, with the way it surrounds molecules and responds to temperature and time. Tonight, as you drift towards sleep, the water in you is still listening, still holding the quiet rhythms of your day, still preparing to soothe you with its subtle chemistry, the chemistry of calm. Water makes up more than half your body, surrounding every cell, filling every vessel, lapping gently at the shores of every organ. And yet, it is more than filler. It is the medium through which almost all biochemical reactions take place. Nutrients dissolve in it. Hormones travel across it. Ions and signals pass through it like whispers on a still lake. And in every one of those motions, water plays its part, not loudly, but perfectly, silently. At the molecular level, water is sticky in just the right way. Its molecules form hydrogen bonds, temporary, fleeting attractions that break and reform. 1,000,000,000,000 times a second. This constant shifting gives water its flexibility, its adaptability. It can dissolve salts, carry oxygen, buffer pH. But more than that, it creates a kind of fluid structure where patterns emerge, hold for a moment, then change. Some scientists call this structuring, others call it memory. Whatever the term, the idea is the same. Water holds a pattern for a time, shaped by what passes through it. Think of that now. Your body is filled with these patterns, tiny, invisible architectures formed by how water embraces other molecules. A nutrient here, a calming neurotransmitter there. As you rest, your cells are bathed in these gentle flows, these momentary arrangements that make peace possible. Your muscles relax not just because they are tired, but because calcium and sodium and potassium are drifting through water, signaling it's time to let go. Even your thoughts require water. The brain floats in it. Electrical signals spark through water-laced tissues, and the chemicals that help you feel come serotonin, melatonin, GAB, all move through water to reach their targets. Without this silent carrier, the chemistry of calm would never arrive. But it does. It always does, and water listens. To heat, to touch, to the rhythm of your breath. It absorbs excess warmth, smooths out pressure, softens transitions. When you take a deep breath and exhale slowly, you change the carbon dioxide in your blood, and water helps balance it, buffering the pH, calming the system. Even in your tears, when emotions spill out, water is there, holding the message, carrying it away. You are not just surrounded by water, you are supported by it, and it has been with you since before birth, floating in amniotic fluid, cushioning your first movements. And before that, it was in your mother's blood, and her mother's, and so on, stretching back through time. Some of the water molecules inside you right now are older than the earth itself, formed in the breath of stars, caught in ancient clouds, pulled into the blue dot we call home. Water remembers the world, and it remembers how to calm you. Let that idea hold you now. The water in your cells is not lost. It is never still, but it is never gone. It cycles, it flows, it returns, like breath, like waves, like sleep itself. When you rest, your cells adjust their chemistry. Neurotransmitters shift, heart rate slows. The brain begins to clear out waste products, like a tide pulling gently back from shore. This is water, working softly, persistently. Let your mind float now. Let it drift in that inner ocean. Let the patterns of calm form and dissolve around. You always enough, never demanding. You do not need to do anything but receive. Water will carry the day away. It will hold what you no longer need. It will dissolve the tension, transport the ease. You are floating in the chemistry of calm, and you are safe here, and you will sleep somewhere deep inside every cell of your body, wrapped gently into coils too small to see, is a message. It is not shouted. It does not blink or burn or pulse. It sits in the quiet, a spiral of letters, endlessly repeated, copied, and preserved. It doesn't need to be loud. It has time. It is DNA, and it has waited for billions of years to whisper its story. Tonight, you lie still, but this spiral continues to turn inside you, folding history and possibility into every breath. It is a lullaby in molecules, a record written in silence, guiding you towards sleep. DNA is a double helix, two strands wound together like a staircase curling upward into shadow. Each step on that staircase is a pair of bases adenine with thymine, cytosine with guanine matched precisely like puzzle pieces, like lovers. The sequence of these pairs is not random. It is instruction. It is identity. It is a long sentence, made of only 4 letters, yet capable of describing everything that makes you, the shape of your bones, the curl of your hair, the rhythm of your heart. But DNA does not shout these instructions. It doesn't force. It simply holds the script. Your cells read it softly, transcribing it into RNA, which in turn becomes proteins, the building blocks of you. This is a slow, quiet process. It happens while you walk, while you think, and even now, while you rest. Nothing is rushed. Every cell knows when to read, when to copy, when to remain still. And all the while, the spiral sleeps on, coiled neatly, like a book that never forgets. Your DNA is nearly identical to that of every human being who has ever lived. And yet, it is distinctly yours. A remix of your mother and father's code, touched by small variations, tiny changes passed down through generations. In this way, you carry your ancestors not in memory, but in form. Their strength, their resilience, their quiet traits folded into the blueprint of your skin, your eyes, your breath, even the parts of your DNA that don't code for anything, the so-called junk DNA, are not meaningless. They help regulate, they provide rhythm, they offer structure. Silence, it turns out, is part of the message. The pauses matter. The empty space carries form. Just like in music, what is not played is just as important as what is. As you lie here. Now, your cells are at peace. Many are paused. Some are dividing gently. Others are repairing. And all of them are referencing the spiral, the ancient text written long before you were born. DNA does not make choices. It provides options. And your life is how those options are expressed. In sorrow, in the gentle slowing of your heartbeat as sleep settles in. The spiral shape itself is a masterpiece. Wound tightly, it fits 6 feet of DNA into the microscopic heart of a cell. But more than that, the twist of the helix is what makes it stable, readable, beautiful. It is symmetry made useful, elegance made essential, and it never untwists completely. It only opens what's needed, when it's needed, then folds back into quiet. There's something deeply soothing in that you are held together by something so calm that your very being unfolds from a structure so peaceful, so patient, so complete. And now, as you drift further from the waking world, know that your body continues its quiet symphony. Proteins fold, cells whisper, the spiral turns, and all of it happens without effort, without noise. It is care given in silence. You are not alone. You are not random. You are the result of a code, passed down through oceans of time, and it is still speaking, still guiding, still holding you together. Let go of the day. Let the spiral hold. You let your breath slow. Let your cells listen and sleep. At the boundary of your mind, where waking thought begins to dissolve and dreams begin to rise, there is a quiet frontier, a place not of images or words, but of potential, of hums and flickers, of electric fields flowing through delicate webs, of neurons. This is not the noise of thought, it is the silence just before. It is the edge of awareness, and beneath it, gently holding the structure of your consciousness, is physics, not mechanical, not rigid, but fluid, probabilistic, like light filtered through a leaf. Tonight, as you let yourself drift, you will visit that edge not to control it, but simply to witness it softening as sleep draws near. Your thoughts are not made from magic. They are patterns brief, flickering bursts of activity that travel along axons, jump synapses, and form networks across your brain. Each signal is electrical and chemical, but it is also physical. The voltage difference across a neuron's membrane is governed by ions, tiny charged particles moving in and out of cells. Sodium flows in, potassium flows out. A neuron fires, and a thought takes form. And it all happens in milliseconds, again and again, like sparks along a fuse, but guided, shaped. Held. The physics of this is quiet but profound. There are thresholds, precise limits that must be crossed for a signal to pass. There are gates, protein channels that open and close with voltage. There are delays and resets, charges and gradients. This is not chaos, it is choreography. Each conscious moment arises not from one neuron, but from billions working in astonishing coordination. And even now, as your body relaxes and your mind slows, that network continues to hum, to weave soft patterns into the early architecture of dreams. Awareness, that mysterious feeling of being, is not stored in one part of the brain. It emerges from the interaction of many parts: sensory input, memory, emotion, attention. Like a field forming between tuned instruments, awareness arises from synchrony. It's not a place, it's a rhythm. And when you rest, that rhythm shifts. Brain waves lengthen, slow down. Fast, sharp thoughts give way to drifting associations, to the blurring of time and space in sleep. Your awareness doesn't disappear, it changes shape. The physics remain. The ions still flow. The neurons still pulse. But the patterns become softer, less tethered to the world outside. The boundary between self and not self fades. You are no longer thinking about the day or planning for tomorrow. You are floating in a quiet sea of potential, where thoughts become impressions, and impressions become dreams. And through it all, physics is there. Energy conserved, charge balanced, fields aligned. There is no need to understand it fully, to feel it now, to feel the edge softening. That place where thoughts lose their sharpness, where identity loosens its grip, where you become not nothing, but everything, open, connected, safe. Your awareness has edges, yes, but they are porous. In meditation, in dreaming, in deep rest, you explore those edges, not with logic, but with presence. Even now, as your mind begins to drift, you might feel the last sparks of thought rising and falling like distant stars. Let them go. They are not you. They are only patterns. You are the field that holds them, and fields, like awareness, extend beyond their points. They ripple, they embrace, they respond to space, not with boundaries, but with influence. You are not a thing, you are a process, a pattern in motion, a ripple in a larger sea. So tonight, lie softly in that sea. Let the physics take care of the rhythm. Let your mind rest at the edge of thought, where nothing needs to be solved, where presence is enough, where being is the only task, and where sleep, gentle and inevitable, folds itself around you like a field you do not have to explain, just one you get to feel. Let yourself go quiet. Let yourself drift. You are not fading. You are expanding. And in that, you will sleep. And now, you've followed the threads, those soft attractions, those barely there embraces that build the stars and shape the skin. You've floated through covalent commitments, ionic exchanges, fleeting hydrogen touches that make warmth, make water, make life. And through it all, there was no rush, just small acts of staying. Chemical bonds don't need recognition. They aren't loud, they don't sparkle, but they're always there, holding the universe in place, molecule by molecule, breath by breath. They hold your heart's cells, your neurons, the curve of your eyelash, the rise and fall of your sleeping chest. And the best part is, they do all this without needing you to manage them. The whole world of atoms is perfectly content to keep being connected while you drift far, far from thought. So now, let everything relax. Let every tension you carry dissolve into the quiet space between your cells. There is no more task, number, more sentence, no more separation. Only this, bonds holding firm, molecules humming low, and sleep arriving. Right on time, ask ChatGPT.